Hello beautiful, welcome to today's video. So I was actually really excited for this one because I've been waiting for this palette to launch. Launched in Ulta for Platinum members, so I was able to pick it up earlier than the actual launch date. The launch date is March 1st online, and in stores is the 19th of March. So just letting you know that. So the actual palette that I'm talking about is the Peanut Butter and Honey palette. And this one correlates to the actual Too Faced Peanut Butter palette, but this one's the second one. I have some pros and cons over the Honey palette. So let's get started. So the actual Peanut Butter and Honey palette is very cute, the same size as the Peanut Butter palette original. And they have a tin, all that good stuff, and these are the actual colors. I'll insert pictures of it. And one thing I have to say about this, it's a really beautiful palette when you look at it, right? Very beautiful. And I'm actually going to insert some clips of me actually applying the actual eyeshadows to my eyelids. But I'm going to just start off with some cons because the cons kind of overlap the pros. This is a beautiful collector's item. I like collecting the Too Faced eyeshadow palettes, then it's very cute, very pretty, but the one thing I have to say is that all the eyeshadows end up blending to the same kind of tone. So if you're looking for a lot of variety in this palette, I have to say you're probably not gonna like this because they all blend out to a very warm toned, this kind of shade. Like if you see on my eyelids, they kind of all blend to that. I'm gonna also insert some pictures of the actual shades and how they are. So I'm gonna just start off with the first row right here. So Sweet as Honey is a little bit patchy. And these shades right here are not that unique. They all end up blending to almost the same, like a white toned. Peanut Butter has been in the Peanut Butter palette, and I feel like it started off with the semi-sweet chocolate bar because the Peanut Butter shade is on here too. So Peanut Butter is a really beautiful warm toned brown, like an orange undertone. It's a beautiful shade and it blended out nice. Going Nuts, this one's this brown right here. So I've been playing with this palette since I got it, and Going Nuts, it's the one shade I do not like in here. It's a little bit tricky because it is the darker shade in this palette. It is very patchy. I didn't use it today because I know it was just gonna be a hot mess using it, and I just didn't like that shade because it's very, very patchy and the actual color isn't so flattering as it looks like on the actual palette. Moving on. So Queen Bee is a really pretty like pink shade, light pink shade. It is very pretty, but you have to pack it in order to get a kind of color out of it. Honey Brittle is like a melon toned shade. This one just ends up blending in with all the Peanut Butter shade and all the other shades. It doesn't really pop unless that's the only color you use. The one next to it is actually one of the pretty ones, and it's Bee's Knees. It's right here. This one actually looks really beautiful when you wet your brush and actually apply it to your eyelid. It gives a lot of pop. It has a bit of shimmer in it, but very scattered, the glitter in it. Queen Bee is actually the most pigmented out of all the three, and it's this one right here. It is a very nice shade if you just like a matte shade to start off with. I do have to say, the matte, if you start with any of these shades and put it all over your eyelids to set your concealer or anything, that is not going to make any of the other eyeshadows pop, because it kind of just washes out all the colors and it doesn't give the true colors that these provide. So I wouldn't suggest using these to set your eyelid before you start your actual eyeshadow. I just wouldn't do that. Okay, the next one is Honey Buns. So this one's the actual you know, color in here that correlates to the name of the palette, and it's this one. It's called Honey Buns. This one I am a bit upset with because it is the tone of the whole palette, which is honey. Honey has a yellow undertone, almost orange. This shade is very beautiful when you see it on your finger. You see it very yellow, but once you apply it to your lid, it doesn't pop whatsoever. This color actually doesn't show at all. It just looks like, you know, you just put a creamy light base, a matte base around your eyes. It doesn't pop as yellow, so if you were looking for a pop of yellow, this one, it doesn't pop at all. Okay, and the next one is Feeling Nutty. This one is very similar to the shade of Peanut Butter. Once they blend out together, they look about the same. No difference there. For this palette, I would have preferred for them to have a little bit more, you know, variety of colors, but these all seem to be in the same category, almost very similar. At least in the Peanut Butter palette, they had a bit of variety here where there was light tones, medium tones, dark tones, even pop of color. And these are very nice. And also these shades here were very different. They weren't all very similar. So my thoughts about the Too Faced Peanut Butter and Honey palette, it's a very beautiful palette. It's cute as a collector's item, but if you're not willing to spend $36 for these kind of palettes, I would not suggest it because you probably have shades that have an orange warm undertone. If you are looking for those kind of tones, I would definitely just save a couple of more dollars and purchase the Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar. This one has a lot of variety in here. It has a lot of warm tones. It has peanut butter. It has a lot more options, and these don't all mesh together to become the same kind of look. These shades are very beautiful, but some are just hit and miss. Some of the shades just end up blending to the same kind of tone. They don't have any variety, so you can make different eyeshadow looks unless you're just using one individually to make one look, which, you know, it doesn't really give you a lot of variety in here. The first time I used it, I did not like it whatsoever. I used it again, but it just gave me the same kind of tone. If you want an affordable option that is probably going to be right up your alley, is the Morphe 350 palette. This one has the same kind of like very orangey shades, a lot of variety, and this one's much more affordable, and these colors pop. They all have a lot of pigmentation. The Peanut Butter and Honey palette kind of all looks the same, and those are just my thoughts and opinions. So I hope this kind of helped you a little bit. It's going to be a short review. It's not something I would totally run out and recommend to everyone. It just depends on the shades and undertones you like in your eyeshadows. But that is the end of my review. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day today, and until next time, I will see you then. Bye!